James, another film I saw at the London Film Festival, which I was so excited to see, was The Whale, Darren Aronofsky's new film. Probably the film of this season of films that is probably the most talked about. Currently hasn't got a poster, currently hasn't got a trailer.
I keep seeing articles of Brendan Fraser in tears after 20-minute standing ovation at insert prestigious film festival, blah, blah, blah.
I don't even think it's getting released in the UK until January. I don't think it's even been confirmed. It's not getting released in the US.
Oscar season.
They are going for, and in a way, it's kind of built already, this kind of air of mystique and this air of buzz. And like I said earlier, when I turned up for the screening, there was a queue around the block. So, and when we did our, look ahead to the films that are coming up, I think we both said The Whale was one we were most intrigued by.
Yeah.
Because it is a very unique, to use that word, film, a very distinctive film.
A rebirth of an old actor.
Rebirth of a new actor.
A slightly divisive director at the helm.
Yes. So let's just contextualize it. So The Whale is based off of a play by, I think his name is Samuel D. Hunter. It stars Brendan Fraser, who, of course, will be familiar to many audience members, but also not familiar to a lot of audience members. I asked my flatmate, I asked my girlfriend, I said, do you know who Brendan Fraser is? And they said no. And I said, the guy from The Mummy.
I hope you disassociated from them.
I said, the guy from The Mummy. And they went, oh, yeah. But it's true. I honestly think if you said to someone, when was the last time you saw a Brendan Fraser film? Or when was the last time Brendan Fraser was in your consciousness? I know he's still been getting work, the past few years, but it's been a while. Darren Aronofsky has directed this. Darren Aronofsky directed Requiem for a Dream, Pi, Black Swan, The Wrestler, The Fountain. Mother, Noah as well, actually, that everyone forgets.
I definitely forget that one. And
now he's back with The Whale. The story of The Whale is this. Brendan Fraser plays Charlie, who I think is about 600 pounds, although that confuses me with the conversion. He is chronically, morbidly obese. He is, the kind of thing that is the subject of a Channel 5 documentary at 11 o'clock at night, right? He is housebound, almost like sofa-bound character, but he's an English teacher as well. He's incredibly smart, and he teaches online courses. And in fact, one of the very early shots of the film that we see, and just a reminder, this is spoiler-free, I'm not going to give anything away that you don't want to know, is like a Zoom screen. Like Zoom meetings, right?
Sorry, those motorbikes are on my end.
Yes, sorry, more traffic.
Back in town.
So the film begins, and the first time we see Charlie as a character, it begins at a point of it begins at quite an ugly point. It's quite a good, almost grotesque. I don't think the film is leeringly grotesque. But there are moments of by the state of his life that are sadly grotesque. Because it begins at this kind of low point for him, and very early, I'm trying to be as broad as I can. I don't want to give away too much. Someone looks at him and says, you are in a critical stage of your health. You are not well, which is obvious to anyone who's watching this. He knows it. The person telling him knows it. The audience knows it. This person is not doing good. Lots of things happen in the course of the story, but essentially, I would describe it the way I described it before I had even seen it, which is that the broad narrative is that he spends the duration of the film trying to reconnect with his daughter, who is played in this by Sadie Sink, who most people will know from Stranger Things, who's great in Stranger Things. And I have to say, plays a character in this, not too really dissimilar from her character in that, but you know what? She's still good in it. The Whale. How to describe The Whale? I think The Whale is a really, really solid, often powerful, difficult in the right places film that I found incredibly moving. Where to begin? First of all, with Darren Aronofsky. Darren Aronofsky has always made films about waking nightmares, right? Sure. Whether it's the existence of drug users in Requiem for a Dream and how haunted that whole experience is, and the way that film just sort of descends into hell. It's Black Swan with Natalie Portman's character losing her mind. Mm-hmm. It's Mother, the sort of
just
all the way through this kind of waking nightmare of life. And what I found really interesting is that Darren Aronofsky is incredibly restrained in this film. This is the most restrained Darren Aronofsky film you see, especially off the back of Mother, which was like him giving everything. Yeah. This is him dialing way down. Yet he still infuses it with so many of his hallmark traits, and the waking nightmare of Charlie's life is kind of writ large. And like I said, it's not in a exploitative way or it's just a way that renders him as a fully complete character. So when you look at him in his life, the camera isn't sort of going, oh, like how fucking disgusting this is, or overly being like, it's not trying to really point you into a certain direction. I found it was just sort of presenting you with this character, but it's creating this waking nightmare from an incredibly domestic setting. It's all basically in his living room, and it's the detritus of his life. It's empty 4-liter bottles of Pepsi. It is discarded pizza boxes. It is greasy T-shirts. I think that's incredibly good. I think also Darren Aronofsky always makes films that are really interested in the body. Requiem for a Dream is like the sort of deterioration of the body by drugs, whether it's the arm of Jared Leto, or what happens to Jennifer Connelly's character, or even with Ellen Burstyn's character. It's Natalie Portman's physique in
Plucking
Black Swan.
feathers out of her hand,
exactly,
yeah.
and the nails. It's Mickey Rourke's physique in The Wrestler. And you get that with Brendan Fraser in this. Brendan Fraser had put on weight for this role, but obviously a large amount of it is to do with prosthetics and I think maybe a touch of CGI, and also hidden between massive clothes, right? I think talking about... I think the first thing to actually just flag up when going into the Whale is that it is a play. And I think for some people that if you were to draw anything, that is probably the biggest obstacle to this film.
Right.
It will be a minor obstacle for some, it will be a bigger obstacle for others. I don't think it's a problem because the film is not, it is in the film's DNA. It is not lying, it's not trying to hide it. This film is a play. It is predominantly set in his house, his flat. He is housebound, so it makes sense. It is his living room, it is his bedroom, it is his bathroom, it is his balcony. But do not expect this film to break away and go to different places. You are, strap in, you're watching a play, okay? However, I don't think it suffered the stagey woodenness of a play. I didn't think, oh God, this is just wooden. Don't get me wrong, it's full of emotion, full of life, very well directed. But you are watching a play. And how you feel about that, it depends on how you feel about watching a play, really. There are moments of dramatic entrances and exits that feel a little stagey. There are dialogue that is almost too clean, too play-like, a little too mannered. But it's fine if you like watching plays and if you like that kind of drama, right?
Mm-hmm. So do you think this is enjoyed by a certain type of critic / viewer?
No, I think it will land more strongly with certain people than others, but I think also just flagging that in advance will help a lot of people. I think you just need to know that you're going to be sat basically in some guy's room for 2 hours. That said, it's a really, really interesting film because I kept thinking, I've not seen anything like this before. I've not seen a film study someone like this in this way for such a long time. The last time I'm trying to think of someone who was like housebound and morbidly obese is like What's Eating Gilbert Grape, which is Johnny Depp's mother, and she's like a supporting character. But this is very much contextualized within real life. There are themes in this beyond the state of Charlie's health. It's obviously his relationship with his daughter. There's themes of religion is a big theme, healthcare, sort of wider socio-economic political landscape of America. There are other characters as well. There's a character, again, can't remember the actress's name off the top of my head, who plays Liz, who's his friend, who sort of checks up on him. Wonderfully played. She's fantastic. She was in the Watchmen series. There's this other guy who knocks on his door, who is Ty Simpkins. He brings a lot as well. Anyway, if you can sense from me sort of like slowly trying to present it to you, it's because there is many great things in The Whale, but I think I should also say up front is that, it's not a lot of fun. I'm not saying it's overly heavy. There are moments of great humour in it and witty play humour, but it is sad. You are watching a sad story. But onto the stronger points now. What I found really interesting is that how Darren Aronofsky has sort of quickly emotionally invests you into the story, into this world. There is a point only about 10 minutes in of Brendan Fraser eating a chocolate bar. And it is really quite emotional. And I remember thinking, that is really... you've got me already there. Mm-hmm. And you've got my attention. I think that the reason it's called The Whale is that he loves Moby Dick, the story. It's both, good book. So, like, obviously, The Whale and that. But then there's also the pejorative insult of the fact that he is, so large. And the sound of waves kind of is like a recurrent like leitmotif that kind of runs through the film. And there is I noticed watching it that like the waves that they were playing, these sort of waves of emotion would kind of come through and really catch you off guard in a way that a brilliantly written play would do. In that there is, it doesn't have to have a moment of action or a moment of this. It's just in the sudden delivery of a line that suddenly gets you in a certain place. Brendan Fraser is wonderful. I mean, just fantastic.
Best actor? Not that you've seen. I
think him being best actor for the Oscars next year is such a moot point by this that it's almost even not worth discussing. I don't want to overhype it because an add-on, but he is so wonderful. When I talked in my review of Living, I mentioned Amy Lou Wood and her eyes and how open and wide, these sort of doe eyes that she had. And Brendan Fraser has the same thing. He's got these really expressive wide eyes, and Charlie is a full character that's kind and warm, but conflicted and has a thing in his past. And to spend time with him is really interesting. What I love as well is when you get to award season like this, you are always in the territory of being told, this person is up, it could win the Oscar next year, and go and watch this performance, and you go and watch it, and the actor's going, I'm going to give you a performance. I'm going to go for the grand performance, and I'm going to get that Oscar, and you go, wow, look how big that performance was. And, I mean, he literally is doing a big performance because he's so big, but I actually never felt like, here goes Brendan Fraser going for that Oscar.
Feel like he's really trying.
I really felt that he
got given a dream role and
he really committed to it, and he did, and he physically and visually he does disappear into the role, but he also does that in his own acting. It's so hard to recognize him and think, is that Brendan Fraser, which is great. It's a completely self-effacing role. Like I said, there are moments of it that are ugly and uncomfortable and difficult, but what the strength of The Whale is that it takes a very ugly, difficult subject matter, many subject matters, and it is always trying to move from a point of ugliness to a point of beauty. Right, and it's always trying to get to that human point. And I can't say why, but if you look at the way the film opens with Brendan Fraser's character, I mean, the shot and the way the film closes, if you were to hold those two shots together, I think you get a perfect articulation of that kind of central theme. I talked about this kind of waves of emotion that kind of building up, and like all good, well-written plays, they have an emotional climax and it builds. And James, I was watching it and I realized in the last 10 minutes that I was crying, and I could hear people around me sniffling and wiping their eyes. And and I thought, and what's great about these press screenings is that everyone there loves films as much as you do, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't just a couple of tears. I had to get a tissue. I had to dab my eye, and I had to sort of go, stay with it. And I was completely knocked out by the end. So when the credits rolled, I had to sit there. I had to wipe my eyes again. I had to let the lights go out, and I then had to stagger outside and go and do a full work day. And I was on the tube I've just seen this incredibly intense.
Someone offers you a chocolate bar and you just burst into tears.
A dramatic scenario, and I don't think I can carry this. I mean, I'm trying to talk around it as best I can. Is there anything you want to ask me?
So here's the thing. So hearing you compliment it is great, and I think I'm still very interested to see it. And it's nice to see that the queues around the block and the bars and the 20-minute standing ovations are sort of justified. Do you think this film has mass appeal? And do you think that, because I think what a lot of people have said about if this film is going to be up for either best actor or best film, is that
best film I could see.
People often say that in the recent years with the Oscars, the best film have been films that not a lot of people have seen, not a lot of people have had mass appeal for. Versus back in the day, they were usually if you go back, you were oh, those were really big films that everyone saw. Lord of the Rings, Gladiator, this film, you think to films like that, and I'm just wondering, will people who aren't necessarily the London Film Festival audience or the critics resonate with it as much as they do?
Probably not. I don't think it's...
And I don't think that's a criticism. I'm just curious to hear about that.
I don't think it's obscure or overly esoteric. When you talked about White Noise, that's clearly playing to... there's going to be a certain crowd that get that and some crowd that doesn't. I do think there is a lot of people that go, what is that? what is that? And then they go to see it. They might think, oh, this is a play, basically. Oh, I'm not sure So it's probably speaking to a slightly narrower field.
With Darren Aronofsky films, I felt like Black Swan cut quite a nice balance between having mass appeal and also being in film to Darren Aronofsky.
And there is this sort of tension in it as well. When I was watching, I was like, I've come to see Darren Aronofsky film, and yet I'm basically watching him do a play, which is weird. But like I say, he really does deliver it well. I think
another film recently that really felt like a play, but wasn't a play, is The Hateful Eight.
Right,
which was purposefully shot in ultra-wide
Panavision. But that again has much more visually things happening, and also that just did go outside and had action in it as well. There's this. I don't want to say that the play is a wrong thing at all. Like it's a very good play and it's very well written, and like I said, it delivers the emotional beats and it gets you thinking and it gets you invested in this character. And I think Darren Aronofsky does a very good job of rendering that cinematically. It's just that I'm just letting you know right now, if you don't like stagey, slightly play films, you might chafe slightly at this obstacle.
Other than that, go and see it.
Other than that, I think it's really powerful at times. I think it's like solid throughout, but it builds to. Like I said, I was really knocked out by the end. Watch it for his performance. Watch it for the whole cast performance. I mean, there's even a performance by a character that I don't even want to mention because I don't want to reveal too much. It is, like I said, uncomfortable. It's slightly grotesque at times. It is touching. It is very moving, and it is powerful, and it is very distinctive and unique. I really think you're not going to see another film like that. So
I'm very excited.
Welcome back, Brendan Fraser. They might as well start warming up. Start putting in the name right now. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if some film studios are like, we're going to hold our film back for a year because they've done that in the past. They've gone, it's such a clear indication that this person's going to win. Wow. Why risk it? I mean, it has, not to be cynical, but it has all the things written over it. It's got a physical transformation by an actor who's doing a comeback.
Yeah.
It's got great theatrical credentials as well. So if it sounds like I'm sort of tiptoeing around it, it's based on a play, and it's not a laugh riot. But if you like good drama and you like good acting and you like good directing and you just want to sit and just get your teeth into some drama that makes you feel something, makes you think about something, go and see The Whale.
If you've seen The Whale, please let us know what you think and write in your impressions to hello@pulpkitchenpodcast.com.
We will do a spoiler discussion when it comes out.
Yes, when I've seen it. Let's do it.